Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Welcome back and welcome once again to the webinar series of the second season of the Online Technology Dissemination and Training Series of Bicol in partnership with Bicol University Extension Management Division and the Philippine Association of Agriculturists Bicol Canarium of Atom Chapter. My name is Nicole and I will be your host for today. Today, we will be having the 8th episode of the series and we will be covering the topic entitled Rice Monitoring in the Bicol Region Using Remote Sensing and ICT Tools. Before I introduce our resource person for the said topic, may I invite everyone to join together for a prayer and the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Almighty, ever-living God, the most merciful and compassionate, we thank you for creation and the life you have given us. Together, we people of diverse religions, spiritual expressions and indigenous traditions, who invoke you by different names, humbly pray for your providence and protection in the midst of the COVID crisis. Strengthen and guide government leaders and private agencies, especially our administrators, faculty and staff, for the wisdom to do what is right and just. Enlighten the minds of students, that despite the educational limitations in this new normal, they may study diligently and effectively. Bless our families, remove our fears, and help us to trust in your love, so that by our example and generosity, we can inspire and help others. Grant all of us, especially the frontliners, good health and accept those who have died in your kingdom. Amen.
Bayang magiliw, pelas ng silangan, nananag ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisili. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mabaga, may nilagang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Pag-islap ng matawat mo'y tagumpay na nanininig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang mali magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng bakit pagsinta mo'y langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pamay mga api ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good afternoon once again, everyone. We encourage our viewers and participants to actively engage in this discussion by typing your comments and reactions in the comment section of the FB Live. We will consolidate them for our open forum later after the talk of our resource person. So comment lang po kayo ng questions and we will make sure that they are answered. Also, don't forget to register via the link provided in the comment section of the FB Live. Kasi po, the email that you will provide in the registration form, that's where we will send the link for the evaluation form after this webinar. We will close the registration form po right after we are done with the event. So don't forget to register now and evaluate later. Okay, thank you po. Now, it is my honor to introduce to you our guest speaker for today. She holds a master's degree in geomatics engineering, remote sensing, at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. She also studied in the same university in her undergrad years under the Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, major in Soil Science. She is currently a science research specialist at the PhilRICE Research Institute, Bicol branch. She is designated as the Business Development Coordinator. Her current project includes the rice monitoring in the Bicol region using remote sensing and ICT tools. To discuss more about the said topic, I give you Ma'am Jean Rochielle F. Mirandilla. Ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon po. So, kayo na po magpe-play?
Okay po, we'll play the recorded presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jean Rochielle Mirandilla of PhilRICE Bicol, and I will be presenting the topic Rice Monitoring in the Bicol region using remote sensing and ICT tools. This is a part of the national project Philippine Rice Information System, or PhilRICE, and I am a member of the mapping team of this project. This will be the outline of my presentation. I will discuss what is PhilRICE, the history of the project, the 4 components and its data products. I will also show some examples of the generated outputs in Bicol region. The last is the limitation of the project. So as we all know, rice is the staple crop in the Philippines, and the basic information such as yield and yield gaps vary by region, by production system, by season or semester, and by year. This information are needed for the basis of the policies, support, and even research. Thus, it is very important to obtain this information at the right time and place. This is why PhilRICE was conceptualized and developed. PhilRICE is a collaborative project among International Rice Research Institute, or IRI, Department of Agriculture and its regional field offices, Bureau of Agricultural Research, and SARMAC. During its research and development stage, it was funded by DA-BAR, and now it is included in PhilRICE fund from WDBM. PhilRICE is an operational rice monitoring system that aims to generate and present near real-time and location-specific rice information. So yung near real-time, meaning mabilisan yung pagkuha ng data, and location-specific, meaning we know where is the rice information coming from. Now, the data products generated by PhilRICE are being used as a support for DA planning, decision-making, technology implementation, and even disaster preparedness and rapid response to emergency situations such as typhoon and drought. Now, let me take you to the history of the project. So it was conceptualized in 2012 through the several discussions of DA, PhilRICE, and IRI, and it was approved by 2013. The implementation started by 2014. DARFO5, or Bicol region, was one of the 7 regions to first implemented PhilRICE. Research and development of the system was started last 2014 and lasted until 2017. So during the R&D stage, protocols and the website are being developed. We also conducted capacity building for regional implementers during this stage. In last 2017, PRISM unit was institutionalized at PhilRICE. It is now under the Agronomy, Soils, and Plant Physiology Division. Then by 2018, PRISM became operational. One of the unique part of this project is the creation of the PRISM management team for operation. There was a special order from Department of Agriculture dated August 21, 2018, which provide the DA regional field offices the implementation guidelines for the field operations. So, PRISM is all about information on rice. It can answer the following questions. Where and when the rice grow, how much area and how much production, and even how much area and production is at risk during the natural calamities such as typhoon and drought. How do the data products being generated in PRISM? First, the satellite images are being downloaded and pre-processed using Mapscape. Mapscape ay yung program na ginagamit ng project to generate the data products. Then the data collected by data collectors, usually regional partners, are being used by the mapping team to process the rice area, start of season maps, and LAA maps or the leaf area index maps. These products are being used by the other team or components of the project. Then after na ma-produce yung data products, we can compute the accuracy using the field data collected. The LAI and start of season maps will be used by the yield estimation team to produce the yield estimates. In addition, the start of season maps is being used by the damage assessment team to compute or for the basis ng area at risk during typhoon and kung may drought po. The output data format can be in Excel form or raster vector file that can be opened in any open source or paid GIS program. So from these activities, there are 4 major PRISM data products. 2 of these data outputs are from the rice mapping team. So ito yung dalawa. Una, rice area estimates that identify the extent and the magnitude of the production. Second is ito pong nagre-reveal ng heterogeneity of crop establishment. So it shows the different planting dates and yung seasonality ng rice areas natin. It can also shows kung yung season ba ay early or delayed. Ang isa pang data product ay yung yield estimates from the yield estimation team. And last ay yung flood or drought affected rice areas. So let's start with the first activity or the first component, the field data collection. So PRISM data collection uses smartphones to replace the pen and paper data collection. The smartphones have data collection forms, GPS to record the location and the time, camera for the documentation and observations. Then after the data collection, these data were sent through mobile network or internet. We also use the smartphone to do a rapid field information during an event of calamity. For the data collection, regional field units and LGUs collect data from the monitoring field. PRISM sites were called as monitoring fields or MF. So for this year, here in Bicol region, we have 120 MF that we are monitoring. Castilla, Sorsogon, Pamplona, Camarines Sur represent the rain-fed ecosystem, while the remaining municipalities, San Andres, Virac, Catanduanes, Minalabak, Camarines Sur, Pulangi, Albay, and Talisay, Camarines Norte, represent the irrigated ecosystem. So in this right portion, the graph shows the distribution of monitoring field in Bicol region from 2014 to 2021. So from 18 monitoring fields, last 2014, it increased to 120 monitoring fields. So the data collections were done from establishment up to harvest of the field. This slide shows the timing of each data collection. So the first data collection was done during the pre-season or before the season. This is called the metadata of field profile, which includes the interview of the farmer for his consent to conduct the data collection in his field. We also ask the time or the day of his establishment. Metadata 2 and until metadata 5 includes a different cultural management what the farmer did to his field. For example, in metadata 2, cultural management, we ask the date and type of his establishment. In metadata 4, we ask the fertilizer he used in the area. And in this last two metadata is the production data. This metadata is important for processing the rice estimation. So for example, yung date ng establishment sa metadata 2 ay ginagamit ng mapping team para ma-adjust yung start of season dates sa detection ng rice. Monitoring visits were done during the satellite passes. So from crop establishment until ma-harvest yung rice. So the data collected here were used to check and compare what the satellite image captured and being used in the image processing. Meanwhile, rice and non-rice area validation, or we call it RNR validation, are collection of points planted for rice and non-rice during the season. We also collect damage during the event of calamities such as typhoon, heavy rain, and drought. This slide shows the rice and non-rice validation points collected by the regional data collectors with the assistance of the PhilRICE facilitators here in Bicol region. So this is the distribution during the first semester 2021 with 57 points, and while this is the collection during second semester 2021, so we have 104 points. These points will be used for the map accuracy. Let's go to the second component. So one of the PRISM components is rice area estimation, which we use satellite images to generate the data products. So before I discuss about that, let me define what is remote sensing and the satellite images. So remote sensing is defined as the science of obtaining information about objects or areas from a distance, typically from aircrafts or satellites. So, sa common word po, images were taken and it contains the information of the object po. Then, there are two types of data being used in RICE monitoring. Yung una, yung optical remote sensing o optical images. Then, ang second ay yung radar RS. So, PRISM uses radar data to map RICE areas. So, I will explain it further sa mga susunod na slides. So, tingnan niyo po yung image na nasa slide. So, ito po yung example ng clear optical image of malinaw area, yan, Tiwi and Tabaco. So, kung mapapansin niyo po, this is a cloudless image. Then, this is an optical image from Sentinel-2A last October 1, 2021 ng same area. Ano pong mapapansin nyo? The image was fully covered by clouds. So, yung Pilipinas po kasi is a tropical country and usually po, we have lots of clouds. So, especially dito sa Bicol region. So, it is impossible to have a pure cloudless images during the whole season or whole semester, lalo na po pagdating ng wet season. Images covered by clouds don't have information underneath them. Thus, it is difficult to use optical images for RICE monitoring. So, punta naman po tayo sa radar. It's with the same area. Ito naman po yung sample ng radar image. Radar image can see through the clouds. So, yung radar images po have white to black color. So, this is an example of the radar image na taken dun sa same area sa Malinaw, Tiwi at dun sa Tabaco. Noong October 3 ng Sentinel-1A. So, to explain better, let's just zoom in the Malinaw area. So, ito po yung kanina. So, PRISM uses at least 3 to 4 images to detect RICE areas. So, this first picture, so ito po ay kinuha noong June 29. So, ito pong area na to, itong itim, ay ito po yung RICE areas. Then this one, itong parang line po na ito, ay permanent water such as canal or river. Then this one, the right, dito pong nasa right below, ay yung kulay puti. Ito po naman yung settlement areas or yung built-ups. O, ibig sabihin yung mga buildings at bahayan. Then dito po sa second picture na kinuha nung September 9, you can notice that the color in the rice field area varies from grayish to black. So, yan po. Yung kanina po, black color indicates that the rice field po ay currently flooded. Either po na nasa land preparation or yung early establishment. So, it become gray in color. So, naging gray po siya pagka may nakatinig na rice. Kung mapapansin nyo po, yung canal and river o yung permanent water, hindi po nag-change ng color. Permanent po siya na black. And even the settlement areas po, white pa din siya dito sa image na to. Then, ito pong sunod na picture ay kinakuha noong October 3. And kung mapapansin nyo po, yung dun sa rice area, dun nagbabago yung color. And yung mga settlement and canal, hindi po. Yan. So, example po, this image shows the different colors, yan po, ng rice area that indicates na they have different establishment dates o yung planting dates nila. Ito naman pong susunod na picture ay yung actual rice area estimates na generate ng PRISM dito sa area ng Malinaw. So PRISM is using free satellite images from Sentinel-1 from yung ESA or the European Space Agency. So for Bicol region, kung makikita nyo po dito sa left side, we use 3 orbits, yung pong orbit 61, 69 at 134. So naku-cover niya kasi yung buong region 5. So usually, we use over 100 images to process RICE area for one season or one semester. Yung pong Sentinel-1 ay isang synthetic aperture radar na may 20 meters by 20 meters pixel size. So this is the basis of the minimum area requirements for the monitoring fields and yung distance po na requirements sa protocol. So to process these images, ito pong nakukuha dito sa mga orbit na to, we use a program called PhilRICE na nanggaling po sa SARMAP. So SARMAP is a Swiss company founded in 1998 po. So this slide shows the general framework of RICE area estimation. So SAR images were downloaded from ESA to local storage and will undergo basic processing, or we call it pre-processing, before the actual classification on RICE mapping. Basic processing includes co-registration, smoothing, and filtering of the images. So, RICE mapping includes the multi-temporal rule-based RICE detection. Then after producing the maps, or after the classification, accuracy were computed from the RNR validation points collected by the data collectors. Then the products such as RICE map, LAI, startup season maps will be used by the other components or other team, the yield estimation and the damage assessment team. So let's look at this example. So this is the estimated RICE area of each region in the Philippines from 2018 to 2020, semester 1 and semester 2. So just to clear it, yung PRISM po, ginagamit namin division ng planting season or semester ng Philippine Statistics Authority. So yung semester 1 is from September 16 to March 15 planting, while September 2 is from March 16 to September 15 planting. So as you can notice, Region 3 has the highest production area allotted to rice, na sinusundan po ng Region 2. Then you can also notice na sa Region 1, mas mataas yung production nila during wet season compared to dry season. Kasi po, madaming rain-fed areas dun sa region. So let's look at the Bicol region data. For semester 1, 2018 up to 2021. So, meaning ito po ay yung planting ng from September 16 to March 15. So the graph shows the peak of planting is from, ito po, December to February. Thus, yung harvesting is on March up to May. Meanwhile, sa semester 2 or yung second semester, ang planting naman po nito ay yung March 16 up to September 15. So, karamihan po ng farmers natin ay nagtatanim dito sa Bicol region ng June hanggang August and nag-harvest po ng September to November. So, ito naman po yung example ng rice area and planting dates sa Bicol region. So, the graph in the right, this one, shows the distribution of rice and the progression of the planting dates in the region. So there are 166 thousand hectares planted for rice last 2021 semester 1. So Kamsur, ito po, Camarines Sur has the highest area or the largest area allotted for rice production, having 80,000 hectares, and the lowest is in Catanduanes na merong 4,000 hectares. So based on the 57 field validation points that were gathered by the data collectors, there is a 96% accuracy. However, the points are considered insufficient. Nahirapan po kasi silang kumuha ng validation points dahil sa pandemic. So, kaya 57 lang yung nakuha nila last season. So, for this season, semester 2 ng 2021, 178,000 hectares po ang nataniman naman sa Bicol region. So, nag-increase yung production during wet season. So, based on the accuracy assessment, meron pong 92.3% based yun dun sa 104 field validation points. We can say that we have a good accuracy dahil po sa isang remote sensing product, we need at least 85% na accuracy para maging acceptable. This slide shows the example of rice planting dates this year. So, zoom lang po natin. So, as you can notice, meron po siyang different colors. Ito po, ito yung rice area. So, different colors indicates the different planting dates for crop establishment in each municipality and province. So, start of season maps can show if there is a shift of planting on each municipality and province. We can also see the rice fields that establish early or late. Now, let me discuss the third component or the yield estimation. So, yield estimation can be done in different ways. So, ito po nakasulat sa slide. Una, whole plot harvest, which is the actual harvest of the field. Then, crop cut method, or we harvest sample plot inside the whole area to represent the whole plot harvest. For PRISM, we use the combination of crop modeling and remote sensing approaches. So, yung pong crop modeling can predict yield based on specific or range of condition, and it requires large amount of data. Meanwhile, remote sensing approaches is a rapid, near real-time, suitable for large area monitoring, and it is now less expensive since marami pong free satellite images ngayon. However, it requires a high computing facility and highly trained personnel to use for image processing. So, meron din pong limitation kagaya ng dinascuss ko kanina, lalo na kung optical data ang gagamitin natin. This slide shows the general framework of yield estimation. The yield estimation uses the product from the rice area estimation. So, ito po yun. Ito yung sa process ng rice area estimation kanina na dinascuss ko. So, it uses the start of season maps. Ito po. O yung planting dates and the LAI or leaf area index maps. So, yan. Kasi po, yung LAI, ginagamit siya to estimate the biomass production doon po sa area. Then, gumagamit din po siya ng secondary data. So, ito po yung mga secondary data. Crop file, weather file, management file, and soil file. Then, this data po ay nirarun sa RICE and ORISA model. After running, makakakuha po tayo ng simulated yield map. So, yung pong PRISM ay nagpo-produce ng mid-season and end-season yield estimates na makikita nyo po dun sa aming website at pwede nyo pong i-request kung gusto nyo. So, let me show you some example of yield estimation output. So, ito po, sa slide na to, dito sa right side, with the use of GIS program, generated yield estimates can be graphed. So, ito po yung sample ng graph. So, makikita nyo po, pwedeng makita yung per municipality and province na data. Then, dito lang po sa right side, sa left side, nakikita po dito na sinasabing yung Masbate has the lowest yield among the provinces of Bicol region with below 3 tons per hectare po na yield. While Sorsogon has slightly higher yield compared to Albay and Camarines Norte with a little over from 4 tons po per hectare. So, in terms naman po ng total rice production, Camarines Sur has the highest production since it has the highest area allotted for rice. Then Catanduanes is the lowest. Then the last component is the damage assessment for flood and drought. So today I will discuss the damage assessment for flood. So the slide shows, so ito yung graph shows the typhoon track in the Philippines. So yeah. The country experiences 20 tropical cyclones annually, some of which cause major damage to infrastructure and livelihood. About 8 to 9 of them cross the Philippines. So ito pong mga track na ito, itong lines with dotted line, yan. Ito po yung track ng mga typhoon na dumaan dito sa Pilipinas. So, ito naman pong slide na ito, pinapakita niya yung damage ng typhoon sa ating palayan. This is example from the rice areas affected by Super Typhoon Trolley in the Bicol region last 2020. So, one of the data products ng PRISM is the area at risk during flood and drought. So, how can we generate this? So, this is the overall damage assessment framework. PRISM is monitoring the weather data or weather announcements such as typhoon and drought pronouncement from Pag-asa. And sometimes, yung regional field offices po natin, nagre-report sila ng damage sa kanilang area of responsibility. So, damage assessment team uses the output of the mapping team, yung pong startup season maps, to estimate the rice area at risk o yun yung mga posibleng rice area na maapektuhan during typhoon or drought. Then yung SAR images po, before and during the flood event o during the event ng calamity ay dina-download. Then it will be generated yung pong flood map or yung drought map. Then the estimated damage affected rice area will be computed gamit yung SOS map and yung mapa ng flood or drought map. So the PhilRICE facilitators will also collect ground data such as GPS points, photos, and yung actual growth stage po ng rice. This data will be used as validation points for the generated damage map. Then, special bulletin about the damage will be written and submitted to DA for their possible intervention and support. Ayan. Pakita ko lang po sa inyo yung sample na ginagamit para ma-generate yung report. So, this is the growth phases na map. Ito po ay na-compute or na-generate from the start of season map. This will be the basis of how much of the rice area can be affected by the drought or the flood. So, dito po sa right, ito po yung flooded map generated by the damage assessment team through change detection method. So, pag in-overlay po itong dalawang mapa with any GIS platform, it can give us the total rice area that are affected by flood or drought. So, punta naman po tayo sa example dito sa Bicol region. So, I will discuss the output for Typhoon Rolly. So, ito po yung super typhoon na dumaan noong 2020. So, this is the track of the typhoon. So, makapapansin nyo po, talagang dumaan siya sa Bicol region. So, the PhilRICE facilitators, ito po, sina Miss Gina De Mesa and Mr. Don Banyares, gather data for damage assessment after the typhoon. So, they collected data such as GPS points, type of damage, pictures ng damages, kagaya po dito. So, sample field pictures ng damage at non-damaged area. Ito po yung points o yung lugar na pinagkuhanan nila ng validation points. So, yung black po na point, ito po yung nag-lodge na rice field, and yellow, yun yung flooded and lodged rice field. So, yung pong ground truth data na to, o yung validation data, will be used for validating the generated flooded map. So, using a GIS program, the graph shows the location, ito pong nasa right, of the affected rice area in Bicol region. So, zoom lang po natin. Yan. So, yung pong green areas, ito yung po yung mga rice field na hindi affected or not flooded after the typhoon. Then, yung pong red color, ito naman yung flooded areas na rice po, na tinatanaman ng rice. Then, yung pong blue, ito naman yung area na flooded non-rice areas. So, makikita nyo po yan, merong doon sa Kamsur and meron dito sa may Albay. So, meron din po sa Camarines Norte. So, based on the planting dates generated of rice mapping team, there are total of 44,000 hectares na may standing crop pa po. So, ito yung mga different phases po, yung reproductive ripening, yung harvested, syempre po na-harvest na at wala na sa field. Kaya po, kung mapapansin nyo, 44,000 hectares lang po yung nakalagay na standing crop. Then, dito naman po, ang sinasabi niya, out of this, 4,056 hectares po were flooded and affected by the typhoon. So, ito pong 4,000 hectares na to, hindi pa kasama dito yung lodging ng rice field. So, ito lang po ay para dun sa mga flooded areas. So, after discussing the components and their data products, where do the DA and other stakeholders use PRISM data? DA and other stakeholders use PRISM data for the basis of the specific interventions. So for example po, dito sa PhilRICE, ang PRISM data po ay ginagamit ng RCEF para po dun sa kanilang planning and delivery of certified seeds. So PRISM regularly submitting the data of rice area, planting dates, harvested and production by quarter, by season or semester and year to Department of Agriculture. It can be a basis of the early warning system and yung basis po ng risk reduction and mitigation. So, yan. Sa ngayon po, ang PRISM data ay being used by different stakeholders, hindi lang po government or Department of Agriculture. Marami na rin po nagre-request na academe and non-government agencies. So, let's go to the limitation of the method. So, kagaya po ng ibang methodology, may limitation po ang paggamit ng remote sensing sa rice mapping. First, we are dependent on satellite images and software. So, kagaya po ng binanggit po kanina, yung satellite images po ay free nating nakukuha sa ESA. Ang acquisition o yung revisit period po dito ay every 12 days. Meaning, every 12 days sumadaan yung satellite sa Pilipinas o doon sa area natin. Halimbawa, sa Bicol region. So, kung ang flooding po o yung establishment ng area ay hindi na-capture ng images during nung dumaan yung satellite, hindi po siya madedetect na as rice. So, kasi po, tandaan natin, yung detection po ng rice ay makikita lalo na po kung naka-flood po yung ating rice field. So, nakadepende din po tayo kung hanggang kailan pwede magbigay ng free satellites, satellite images, yung ating provider. So, in terms naman ng software, tayo po ay gumagamit ng paid software. So, wala pa po kasing free software or open source na pwedeng mag-process ng ating PRISM data products. In addition, yung satellite images o yung SAR ay may limitation din po. So, low detection of rice area dito sa following po na sitwasyon ko. Yung sa steep slope, irregular topography and terraces, so hindi po yan kayang i-capture ng ating SAR. Then, hindi rin po natin kayang i-detect yung upland areas kasi sila po ay unbonded and walang kakayahang mag-store ng water. Kagaya po na sabi ko kanina, ang ating detection ay nakadepende sa pag-detect ng flooding event during the establishment and land preparation po ng ating rice areas. For the limitation naman po ng remote sensing-based flood detection is limited by the availability of SAR image close to the date of flooding. So kagaya ng problema kanina po, kung walang malapit na acquisition po ng SAR image dun sa flooding event, maaari po nating hindi ma-detect yung flood po. So coverage of satellite images sometimes does not cover all the affected areas. So because of this, estimates could be underestimated. Also, PRISM does not quantify flood damage. Ang kaya lang po namin ibigay ay yung area at risk o yung area na pwedeng ma-damage ng flood. So, sa lahat po ng nabanggit ko kanina na mga data products, kagaya ng rice area estimation, start of season maps, yung pong yield estimation, and itong sa damage assessment, pwede po niyo yung makita dun sa aming website. Ito po yung website namin, https://prism.philrice.gov.ph. So, ito type nyo lang po yan sa browser nyo, and pwede po kayong mag-register sa website to request and download PRISM data. This is for free po. So, yun. Kung kailangan nyo po ng data, punta lang po kayo sa website namin. So before I finish my presentation, let me present my co-researchers from PRISM unit. That is being led by the Deputy Director for Research, Dr. Eduardo Jimmy Kelang, the PRISM unit head and the ASPPD head, Mr. Jovino de Jos, the mapping team na kasama po ako, na led by Miss Mary Rose Mabalay, Yield Estimation team led by Elmer Alosnos, Damage Assessment led by Miss Sonia Asilo, then yung pong Field Data Collection na nililid ni Miss Darlene K. Bumagat, including all the PhilRICE facilitators in each branch station. So sa PhilRICE Bicol po, merong dalawa, si Miss Gina De Mesa and Don Balyares. Si Miss Gina po ang assigned sa Region 5 and Mr. Don sa Region 8. So, yan po. So this ends my presentation and thank you very much for listening. So kung may mga katanungan po, handa ko pong sagutin after this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much po, Ma'am Jean, for a very informative and relevant discussion. I am sure that our participants now have a basic grasp of remote sensing and of PRISM, of what PRISM is, and I'm sure that it will be helpful for their future endeavors. Thank you so much po, Ma'am Jean. At this point, we are ready to entertain questions from the comment section. Let me see po. Okay. Ma'am Jean, a question lang po. Yung smartphone po na ginagamit nyo to collect data, is it specifically built for data gathering for PRISM, or can it be a normal smartphone and an application will be downloaded and installed for the data collection po?
Yes po, good afternoon po. Yun pong regarding dun sa tanong, any smartphone po ay pwede po natin gamitin. Lalo po kung kaya ng memory niya kasi syempre po may mga dina-download po tayo na forms and yung pong picture, so para po ma-save din siya.
Okay po, ma'am. That's actually very cool na a normal smartphone can actually be of help sa PRISM po. We have a question from Ma'am Danica. Good day po, madam. Ask ko lang po kung ano po source ng typhoon tracks niyo po.
Yung pong typhoon tracks po ay galing Pag-asa. So yung pong mga weather forecast po ay from Pag-asa.
Another question from Ma'am Danica po. Shapefile na po ba?
Ano po? Ang tinatanong niyo po ba yung track? Tama ba?
Typhoon tracks po. Ang shapefile na po ba ang nakukuha ninyong sa typhoon tracks po?
Ang alam ko po ay hindi pa po. And kung pwede po, i-request natin siya sa Pag-asa. Nare-request naman po.
Okay po. I hope that Ma'am Danica, Ma'am Jean answered your question po.
Parang nakikita ko po tataas ng kamay si Ma'am Rose Beledo.
Yes po, Ma'am Rose.
Kanina pa po kasi siya nagtataas.
I'm sorry po, hindi ko po nakita. Yes po, Ma'am Rose,
Hi,
you
ma'am.
have the floor po.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon po, ma'am.
Since, ma'am, yung validation data, yung validation data na gamit ang satellite na dependent po tayo sa satellite na every 12 days.
Yes
Di ba
po.
sabi niyo ma'am, every 12 days yung yung
Opo, yung free po. Yung free
Oh,
na
provider.
nakukuha natin sa ESA. Opo.
Opo. Paano ma'am na-determine yun pag pag validate ng data na kung saan yung pagkuha naman sa actual area, yung sa mga sample na rice area natin. Say for example, for Albay, sa Pulangi, paano natin nalalaman ma'am sa validation data and how, ano ba yan, yung how efficient yung sa data gathering niya sa validation.
Okay po.
Hindi po kasi
Yan
ako masyadong lang sa PRISM.
Opo, okay lang po, ma'am.
Si Junel kasi yan. Oo, sige.
Opo. Bali po ma'am, doon sa validation po ng rice area estimates natin, gumagamit po tayo ng kanina po, diniscuss ko yung rice and non-rice validation po. Doon po kasi sila kumukuha ng 120 points ng rice and non-rice po na points. Then doon po nakabase yung map accuracy natin. So base po pag po kasi remote sensing product, ang acceptable po natin na accuracy ay 85%. So yun po. So pero po kung comparison po siya ng sa PSA po, pwede natin siyang pagtabihin. Pero dahil po magkaiba yung methodology na ginagamit natin, mahirap pong sabihin kung alin yung accurate at alin po yung hindi, kung compared po sa PSA.
Considering ma'am ng PRISM, kasi maganda naman ang project ng PRISM, pwede ba yan ma'am, kung para bang sa PSA and then the LGU, para ma-compare yung data, tatlong data na yan, na kung saan ay isa na rin po sa output natin sa department. So, pwede po ba yan sa sa efficiency ng pagkuha ng data? Kasi halimbawa, when times of typhoon, medyo natatagalan po ang pagkuha ng data. Pwede ba yan makapag-contribute na sa ating pagkuha ng data?
Yun nga, ayan po. Actually po, kung pagko-compare po, mahirap kasi mag-compare, lalo na po kung magkaiba tayo ng method. Halimbawa, si PSA po at si LGU, di ba po, usually ay interview siya, and si PRISM po ay remote sensing. So, mahirap po siyang i-compare. Ang edge po ng PRISM ay yung near real time po. So, mas madali nating ma-process kasi yung data gamit yung remote sensing, and immediately po, kung na-release na kasi yung images, at na-process natin kagad, pwede po siyang maging basis kung nasaan yung mga damages, yung possible po na damages, and yung risk po nung area. Halimbawa po, kung na-map siya na PRISM na nasa reproductive pa siya hanggang before harvest, pwede po siyang, yun yung focus na bigyan natin ng unang support. So depende po yun dun sa Actually, ginagamit na po siya ng region para po sa planning and mga ganyan pong purpose.
Okay. Yung sa Amaya, ma'am, siya na rin pinagbabasehan po siya sa Amaya.
Hindi ko lang po alam doon sa Amaya
okay.
kasi hindi ko po sure yung project na yon. So, hindi ko po.
Hindi po. Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank you din po. Meron po, ang alam ko po, merong isang taga LGU po na data collectors natin. So, nandito po si Sir Ariel. So, thank you din po dun sa partners po natin mula sa LGU and region para dun sa pag-collect po ng data na ginagamit natin po dito sa mapping and sa PRISM po particularly.
Okay, thank you so much po, Ma'am Rose, and thank you din po, Sir Ariel, sa help po sa PRISM project. Another question po, Ma'am. Do you need an account po in accessing and downloading the data products of PRISM po?
Yes po. Actually, meron po tayong website. Pwede ba ako mag-share screen? Papakita ko lang
yes
yung
po,
website.
ma'am.
So nakikita nyo na po yung website. Naka-share na? Nakikita
yes po,
na po.
naka-share na po dito, ma'am.
So, ito po yung website natin. So makikita, itatype nyo lang po yung prism.philrice.gov.ph. Then makikita, i-log out ko lang po itong aking. So, yan po. Actually, kailangan nyo lang pong gumawa ng account. Nandito na din po. Pasensya na yung internet. Ayan. So, magla-login lang po para gumawa ng account para po maka-download. Pero, yan po. Pero pwede nyo na po siyang makita yung mga products nang hindi kayo gumagawa ng account. Hindi nyo nga lang po mada-download at marirequest. So ito po yung sample. Kung gusto nyong makita po yung rice area ng Region 5, papakita niya po nandito sa right side yung mga figures. Ito po ay semester 2021. Ngayon pong kakatapos lang na season. So yan po. So kung mga hanggang 2018 po yung available dito. Yan po. So kung magre-request naman po kayo ng product, kailangan nyo lang pong mag-login. Wait lang po ha. Wala yung... Yan po. So, punta po kayo sa Info Live. Then, ito na po. Pagka na verify po kayo ng PRISM, yung mag-IT namin, so pwede na po kayo mag-request ng data sa amin, sa website po. Ilalagay nyo lang po kung taga saan po kayong agency, kung estudyante po kayo. Then, kung ano po yung data na i-request nyo, yan po. Tapos kung ano pong file format, halimbawa kung rice area po, yan, kung gusto nyo po ay image siya, raster file, then may pagpipilian na po siya dito. So yun po sa website, sa data product po.
Okay, thank you so much po, ma'am. Thank you din po for sharing your screen effort po talaga, ma'am. Thank you po.
Thank you.
And for our last question po, what have you observed po ba, ma'am, as the benefits of the PRISM project po?
Actually, dahil po, di ba, ang sabi ko, near real time siya, mas mabilis po nating made-deploy. Halimbawa, dun sa flood po o sa event po na may typhoon na padating, madali nating nako-compute yung area at risk. Ibibigay lang natin siya sa policy makers. Then sila naman po ang, halimbawa sa DA, sila yung bibigay ng intervention. Usually po naman po, DA ang nagbibigay ng intervention. Ang isa pa pong example dito ay kung alam nyo po yung project na RCEP, yung nagmimigay ng libreng binhi sa ating mga farmers. So din sa PRISM data din po sila nakabase ng kanilang planning and yun pong sa distribution.
Okay, thank you so much po, Ma'am Jean. I guess we don't have any more questions po. Thank you so much po talaga, Ma'am Jean, for entertaining us today. Thank you for your time and we hope that more blessings will come to you and your institution po.
Thank you po. Ma'am, yung pong tanong ni Ma'am Rose, sabi po, ginagamit na din ng AREA project po ng PRISM Region 13 yung data. Sa Region 13 pa po ang unang gumamit ng data. So kasi buong national naman po itong project. So lahat po ng region ay may access for dun sa data.
Okay, thank you so much po, Ma'am and Ma'am Rose. I hope that answers your questions po. Your question po. Thank you so much again, Ma'am Jean, for entertaining us today. Thank you po. Again, a reminder for our participants, kindly check your email, the emails you provided in the registration form. That's where we will send the link for the evaluation form po.
Ma'am, may nakalimutan lang ako isa. Andito po pala
Yes,
yung
po.
branch manager namin, ng branch director po namin ng PhilRICE Bicol. Ito si Ma'am Vicky. Ma'am Vicky Victoria Lapitan po.
Hello po, good afternoon.
Good afternoon po, Ma'am Vicky. Thank you so much po for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity for giving PhilRICE Bicol the opportunity to share our output. So thank you very much to Bicard and BU. Thank you to Ma'am Maris. Thank you very much po.
Andito po si Ma'am Maris.
Hi, ma'am.
Okay
naman
na.
po.
Blur lang po, ma'am.
Thank you.
Dito pa rin. Hirap.
And nandito rin po yung Prism head, Prism unit head na si Sir Jovi din po. Sa PhilRICE naman po siya.
Welcome din po, Sir Jovi. Thank you din po for attending today.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for appreciating Prism. We are doing our best to serve you.
Thank you so much po, and on behalf of Bicard, thank you so much po talaga for attending today and for participating po.
Wala
Thank
ko.
you po.
Bali, ang kinokollect lang talaga natin dyan, yung organic. Yung yes.
Before we end po, may we request for a photo op po muna. Can you open your cameras po? Yan. Dito na lang si Ma'am Maris. Okay na po ba? Okay, ayan, may mga nag-open pa po. Okay. Ayan na po. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, isa pa po. Ayan, 1, 2, 3. Ayan, thank you so much po.
Salamat.
Thank you din po. Thank you po sa mga nag-attend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much po. So, in behalf of Bicard, DMD, and PAA Bicol, thank you so much po.
Thank you, Jean. Nice job.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Ma'am Jean.